All right, we
Wait, I'll be
live.
back in 1 second. I'm right here. Give
About a
me two
minute or
seconds.
two late. Nah, I don't know what the heck is going on. I got on a little late and in the mic situation, but I'm here. I got it. I had to go to my backup mic.
There it is. It's always to have a backup plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
know if
So
you saw that. Did you see the Facebook shortage when we first logged on? So I don't know what
Outage.
that's about. Yeah, outage, shortage, same thing.
no.
No.
Wait,
Short is
No.
short.
outage,
Out is out.
shortage means limited. Outage is means
Gone.
out is completely out. Right? You're right. You're
Right.
right. So
So
I don't.
I was gonna TK, I was gonna while we were kind of getting going here, I was gonna go and throw on those slides. Thank you for doing that. I think one of y'all did that for me already.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
did
it.
it. Was trying to waste some time. So
Thank
I
you.
don't know how we're gonna be. Oh,
Oh, we
look,
live. I'm glad I ain't said nothing wrong.
Kimberly's on Facebook, so
Hey,
she
y'all.
must see it.
Yeah,
And
we're
Ryan,
good.
I don't know if you shared it to your foundation Facebook page, but now they don't get a notification, but you can send the link to your guests. But that's what we were doing, Sean and I
Hmm,
were doing
interesting.
that. So I'm gonna go. I know, yeah, they don't get a notification now until we go live, but
Yeah,
I
it's on
think when
my
everybody's
StreamYard said that there was an outage, I think that means it's not connecting to Facebook. I don't know.
right.
it's
I
on my
don't
Is it
know.
on
Facebook.
the top Mammy page? Do you see it?
Let me go and take a look now.
Yeah, and
I
you
was
guys who are listening can give us some feedback too. Tell us what it was for you. Did you get a notification? Did you get anything? Like what happened for you guys?
perfect. Let me go see if it's on the Talk Miami page. Let me do that because we see you, everybody. Let me see. Let's say hi. Hi, Veronica. And then Kimberly. Listen, Kimberly gonna be there. Do you understand me?
That's my girl. Hey, Kim. She said
Kim
she
say
received
she.
a notification. So they
Okay,
let us
good.
know when we're going on, but not like before when it did in the beginning. Not like an
And
early notification.
yeah, and there go Ryan and my nephew. And Ryan, I know you watching Monday Night Football. Who's playing tonight, Ryan? Let us know because I
Broncos and
know.
Chargers.
Look,
Oh,
look at
the other
all the
Ryan.
Ryans. The
Yeah, Ryan.
Ryans will know.
Yeah.
And Katrina taking care of the baby and watching football and Talk Miami with my nephew. That's my nephew. Thank you. Watch Shonda
Girl,
come
stop
in and
claiming
say
my godson. What is wrong with you?
whatever. Veronica says she got a notification and she's on YouTube. So
Okay,
thank you,
good. So I
Veronica.
think that's a little better. They get it right away instead of early in the day and they can
Yeah,
forget about it.
yeah.
You mess with them tracks, Shonda. What's up? Man, you got something new going on there? I see you.
Don't start with me. Don't you start with me.
wait. First of all, Shonda, let's back up
Don't
because
start with me.
I
Right, right.
know
Don't
Hey,
know
there you
him.
go.
You
I
don't
know
want
he's not talking.
There you
I
go.
know.
Thug life. There he is. Leave it up there for the world to see.
It's still there.
What's in that cup though?
Ah!
Welcome back to another Monday edition of Talk Miami Podcast Talk Show. Tonight's episode is going to be hosted by yours
Oh,
truly,
shirt, little cricket. Oh, I
and
look
Ryan
cricket. Like,
David.
what's
Shauna's
going
going to
on?
get her life figured out
She's gonna get herself together,
while we
please.
get it
Look at my
popping.
clothes. They all button wrong.
I am Ryan David, personal leadership, holistic lifestyle coach, psychology professor, and always glad to join these ladies on Monday nights. I have with me TK Owens and Dr. Shauna Roberts. Cindy is not going to be here this evening. She's busy hustling. She's traveling the country or the world doing her thing. But
She's doing Disney. She's coming to Miami
plug
on
that real
November
quick.
12th.
Plug that real quick, TK.
Yeah, so she's Disney Princess. She's coming to Miami on November 12th. If you guys want to see Cindy, guys, as a group here, let's talk afterwards. We have to find out how we can get tickets and let's go support her. But we'll be
I
there.
will not be here.
Oh, does she know this? Oh, I'ma tell.
Traveling
I
for the
think
game.
we played Clemson or somebody that week.
Oh, I'ma tell her that you're
Big
not
one.
gonna
Don't
be
tell.
there.
Should
No,
find out.
don't tell Cindy. Don't tell her that
Do you know
it's
the date?
Shonda. Huh?
Do you know the date?
I think she told me the 12th. What day is
Yeah,
November 12th?
I think we play. I think
We'll
we
figure it
go.
out by next Monday
Figure
and
it
let
out.
y'all know.
Yeah,
We'll get it ironed out. All right, cool. So she won't be here with us, but TK and Shonda are here tonight. And I'm gonna jump right into it because being that it's just us, we're gonna keep this thing. Obviously, it's never just us. We also have obviously our audience. We have
right.
whoever's joining us. Shout out to everybody joining us. Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're joining us from. Like we already talked about, Kim, you're gonna be here. You see Diane just jumped on. Katrina Ryan.
Yeah.
The rest of the crew is here. Look, I want to hear from the audience tonight, man. I want you guys to chime in so we can have a couple of comments. Maybe one day we'll get this thing to the point where we can have call-ins, because tonight might be a situation where people want to call in and elaborate on their response. But I have a couple of questions tonight with my topics that want to get the conversation going, stir up some new perspectives, share mine, hear what yours are. So we're going to jump right into topic number one here. And topic number one is a question, but it's also I got to frame it though. So the question here is, I don't know what happened. Did we lose it? Is it still there?
It was there.
What happened?
It was there.
Somebody did
I
something?
know. I didn't touch a thing.
I didn't either.
I'm on Shonda's brand for some reason and it's not there. So there we go. All right. Rewind. I have my sound effects with me real quick. We run it back. Let's see. We got rewind real quick. I don't know if I have a rewind real quick. Where's rewind?
You do. I think you played it before.
Thank
you, Ryan. Yes, I'll be at Georgia Tech.
How's that? Topic one: should you be friends with an ex, or can you be friends with a? Can you be friends with an ex? So it's like a
two-part question,
twofold question. Should is more of the opinion, side of things, and then can is the technical. Is it possible? So we'll deal with the should you be friends first, and then if the answer is yes from anybody, then we'll explore the can you. So I'll put it out there for you all watching, and Shonda and TK for you all. Should you be friends with an ex-romantic partner? Yes or no?
Hell to the now, to the now. Hell to the now.
Listen, that's the reason why they're called ex, Ryan.
Hell to the now.
To the no. You heard the harmony. You hear the harmony. No. But for real, I'm glad that you did ask a two-part question, because that was my first question. Is like, why? I'm always that person. Like, why do you even want to still talk to them? Like, let's go there. So I'm glad you say should you? Should you? It depends, right? I can't say this. I have 2 kids, and
there's a caveat. There's a couple caveats. Go ahead.
There's a couple caveats to that, right? So let's break it down. In my case, I have an ex-husband, which we had 2 kids.
Yep.
And so for the rest, as long as they're living on this earth, I'm pretty sure I will always have some contact with him because of graduations, weddings. And so we co-parent.
You're cordial.
So that's what I want to break it down, right? But the word was ex. It said ex now.
Yep.
So
but
he is
friends also. They ain't your friend. You
now wait a minute. So Ryan, is it friends or ex? Because we said ex now. We ain't talking about
should you be friends with an ex?
Now that word was not in there on
yes,
that topic.
Was.
On the topic.
What was it?
Bring back the topic. Bring back the topic. Right now.
It says.
What does it say?
Should you be friends with an ex?
I digress. I digress. Okay.
Yeah. But she's right. What she's saying, Shonda, where she's going with is this. And I think what Shonda's going to say is that you're civil, you're cordial, you have a connection
we're cordial,
but
because we have to be
key word
co-parents for the rest of their lives. But you are right. Friends, yes. Friendship. Not like we like going out and we like, I call him every 5 minutes. No, we are co-parents, but that is an ex. So we are cordial.
That's another level. That's another level.
There's another level.
Yeah.
Now,
so
I'll
that
be
supersedes, that supersedes the concept of friendship if you have no other reason to have a bond or a connection.
There you go. That's where I was going with this next.
You have a child together. That is a connection more than a friendship. You wouldn't really consider. And look, My mom and dad got divorced when I was 2. I don't mean to cut you off, TK, but
No.
I would actually say at this point in their lives, they're both 68 going on 69. They actually are probably friends today.
Yes.
But 25 years ago, they wouldn't have probably used that word. So you can have a connection for a long time and you could potentially, but I think what your point is, there's caveats to that question. Me and Shonda is going to speak to everything else. You're talking about, TK, if there's a caveat, right?
Now I can't. Now let's talk about exes that you don't have a relationship or a bond with. Like
Shonda got you with that.
I don't talk to any exes and have no reason to talk to them. However, now Shonda, there are some who are still friends with me on social media, but we are not like talking. I don't consider them. But you know what? That does say Facebook friends, huh?
Yeah, so, but that's a lie.
But there's caveats to that. But there is no texting. There's no calling. None of that. But and I don't have any reason to. So I'm gonna let Shonda jump in. I'll probably jump back on.
I probably don't have too much to say.
Let me do my Megan Thee Stallion voice.
Shonda's voice is plenty good enough. You don't need no Megan up in here.
Oh my God. Here she goes.
Okay, listen. I don't know. There's no reason to. There's no. It's not necessary. What do we have to speak about now that we couldn't speak about before? First of all, my husband ain't rap too tight, so I'm not gonna be friends with anybody else.
Listen, that's where I am.
So for their safety and his sanity, no, I wouldn't. No. So, but I honestly don't feel any need to be.
No need.
Now, would I be again? If I see you, if I need to, we see each other in passing. Would I speak? Maybe not. Depends on who it is. Definitely not the person who abused me. He's dead to me. So like I said, depends. Someone said in the comment, depends on why you broke up. Depends on the friendship, how long ago. Maybe you were childhood, exes. You know what I mean? Back then, nobody knew they was the one to talk about at the time anyway. So I wouldn't be friends with them. But if I saw them and just, waved or spoke, whatever, that'd be different. But no, friendships, no. My husband is not friends with any of his exes. He is cordial with his children's mom, and that's about it. There's no need to be. I don't feel there's no need to be friends. When it's done, it's done. You move on. You have your closure. You move on. I've seen people do it. I've seen people have situations where they felt they were better friends than they were lovers. They felt that they had more of a friendship, so they stopped dating. And they actually were good friends, but then they had other partners. So those other partners did not know they used to date till like later on. And then that became an issue.
That's going to speak to my next topic. That's going to speak to my next topic. Actually,
if you're going to do that, if you're going to be,
they better be friends with me too. They better be friends with me too.
Yeah, I mean, look, that goes to the second.
I feel like you should tell your spouse or girlfriend or whoever if you see them, don't just go, that's my friend Ryan. No, I used to date him,
right?
And then, but we're friends.
Yeah,
that's you got to make sure it's clear.
And then the relationship will be over at that moment. But anyway, I think now I lost my train of thought. The second part of the question. We did should, and I think y'all have your opinions on should. And TK, you touched on can. So I guess I'll speak to the should on my end, and I'll say two parts why you should or shouldn't, and then if you can or can't. And so I bring this topic up because I think that there's a lot of layers to it. A lot of it is maturity. When you're young, everybody's a friend and you think you can be friends, and then friends here and friends there. So I think the definition of a friend is very important, first of all. But the should you be friends with an ex? The answer is no, you shouldn't. And the reason why the answer is no, you shouldn't, regardless of whether you can or you think you can find a way or not, the reason why you shouldn't isn't so much about you and that person. Aside from the fact that, like y'all said, if the relationship's over, then the friendship was a layer of the relationship that you can't quite go back to, because a friendship is a relationship. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to scale back the relationship to just a friendship, but you already exceeded that. You already shared something that supersedes friendship. So even if you try to think you could figure out a way to do that with somebody, the reason why you shouldn't is because if you ever want to be in a future relationship, that will contradict a future relationship, because you have a string attached to a previous romantic relationship with no intentions of being romantic, unless you have intentions of being romantic. Then you have somebody new coming into your life, and that's a conflict of where your energy lies. Now, some people have I'll talk about cognitive dissonance later on, the ability to disconnect, and they can compartmentalize it. But remember, just because you know you would never be with that person romantically again and all they are is a friend, when you get into a relationship, your commitment is to that other person's trust, to their trust. So you might know it, but you need to act in a way that proves to your partner that they don't have to worry about anything. Right. And so you might say, well, if they're secure, they'll just take my word for it. No, if they're intelligent, they won't take your word for it until they see your word and your actions are aligned.
Yeah, action.
Right. So it's not so much, well, I know I'm just going to be friends with my ex. We got no romantic, involvement now. And that's long gone. And so we're just friends. I meet somebody new and I'm like, no, babe, don't worry about it. We're just friends. I never intend on being with that person again. My obligation is to make sure that the person I actually want to be with in a relationship can trust what I'm saying. And if I just assume and think they should assume that and then I'm asking them to be naive, essentially. And that's not fair. And I wouldn't expect anybody to do that. So the best bet is when the relationship's over, you make peace with it. It's a part of your life. It was a part of your life. You have history with that person, but that chapter is over and done with. You can still be peaceful. You can still be civil. You can still be respectful. You can still be cordial. You can still see them and you can have some sort of a interaction even in public. But friends is a really strong word.
Reason.
Friends is a really strong word. And I think that, like TK said, unless there's a caveat, which is we have a connection through our children where we have to stay in contact or have some sort of relationship, because make no mistake about it, a friendship is a relationship. And why you having a relationship with someone else you used to be in a relationship when you're in a relationship with me, these are reasons why you want to think about who you're calling a friend, what the value of that friendship is, and if it's going to impede from you establishing a future romantic relationship, it's going to get in the way. I always talk about it. I say, what's the value of that friend that you have that used to be in your life and now they're just a friend? Are they worth you not meeting someone new? Because if you're honest with me and you tell me, hey, I'm still cool with my ex, that's a red flag for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So you might you might need to get that out the way.
I'm not even asking why. I'm so okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Cool. Nice to meet you. Right.
No,
yeah. Now, TK, if it's like you, where it's like, look, I'm cordial with my ex, I have children, and of course we're in contact. Yeah. This is the thing about kids, and a lot of people who are younger, they don't understand that if you're going to have children and your relationship is not going to work out with their mother or their father, that's what you bring to the next relationship. So you're going to be limited to date someone who's willing to do that. And if you're dating someone with children, you better be okay, and you actually better facilitate. Look, I understand you have children with them. I want to help. I want to be a part of it. I don't want to have any animosity because you need to make it worse for the kids.
Right.
So I hope that was clear about where I stand as far as it should. And then I think technically, I don't think I'll touch on that and I'll let y'all have the last word. The can you be friends with an ex, I think actually is also a no. And I say that because unless your relationship was really, really lame and you never really felt anything or got to any level, I don't know about you, but when I'm in a romantic relationship, I'm going to the mountaintop with that person.
You're giving it your all.
Bro. Mm-hmm. And so when that's over with, and we still have some sort of, we're going to have now just a friendly connection. Somebody finna have some passion that's still there, ready to burst out every time we friendly hang out. Like you can't just be friends, even if you think you can, because you don't have that. They probably do. Like it's you're playing with fire, and I really don't think you can, let alone that you should. That's really what that's about to me, as far as the simple answers.
No, I totally agree. The can. Like to me, the should, like the why just knocks out the can. There's no reason to. Like you said, if we don't have anything in common, like a dog or children or some type of connection, I just really don't have a reason to be a friend. Like I said, when you're cordial with someone, I'm not going to be the mean one. I'll cut you off. When I tell you I had a power to cut you off and I wanted to cuss, I really did want to cuss.
I have the gift of goodbye.
Exactly. Because once it depends on what they did to me, Ryan. If they hurt me and I made that decision that I am done and I'm moving on, there is no reason. Yeah. Do you please understand me when I say this? I will act like I never met you. I swear you will walk past me and I won't speak to you.
That makes sense if they hurt you. That makes sense.
I have a gift of goodbye. So an ex to me is an ex for a reason, like George said, like I said at the beginning, and even Trina said it. To me, an ex is an ex for a reason. However, when you have kids together or a relationship, I do remain. That's a choice. Yeah. Please understand. It's a choice that I'm being cordial with him because it's not about him and it's not even about me. Right. It is for my children that they don't have to get nervous when there's a graduation or some type of ceremony, is mom and dad going to get along? Listen, if you do things right, and one thing that I can respect about my husband, he has a child with his mother, and I have children with my
He got a child with his mother.
With his kid's
with
mom.
the kid's mom,
Girl,
Shonda.
clear that up. Clear that up.
When I say his, meaning the son, you know, I'm
boy.
sorry.
I was guessing
He had a boy, yes. And so
I just wanted to clear that up. That's
one of the first things he did, and I can only respect that, Ryan, when he knew that we were getting serious and he knew that I was going to be around his child, he brought me and his child's mother together and introduced us.
A lot of people can't do that. That's the mature thing to do. That's the right thing to do.
That is going to be in her life. And we are cordial. She'll call me before she probably even call him about homework.
That's grown folks.
So you set the tone. Yeah. You set the tone of how the relationship's going to be. My ex-husband can come over our house when there is a graduation or something for the kids, and I don't have to worry about an argument. We have come to a part of maturity. Now, Ryan, if you would have told me about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it might not have always been like that. Exactly. And I was going to say, right, TK.
That was a different story.
You're grown now. You all understand how important it is for the children. Your commitment is now more so to the children. That's a universal commitment. You hear a lot of people with their baby daddy, baby mama, these arguments and all this fighting. It's because they're still immature and they're not thinking about the bond of the connection they have with the child. They don't understand.
Nobody got time.
My baby mama eats Christmas, Thanksgiving with us. And, I mean,
your baby mama
with her other kids. She's my baby mama. She's not your baby mama. She's mine. I claim it. Now we call each other that because we're good, we're cordial, you know what I mean? And they even got to a place where they can talk and have conversations now, because before he just felt like I ain't got nothing to say, how our kids going on to talk. But when we start doing holidays and stuff, because their son is gonna come over, he brings sometimes his mom, her children, and we have a whole day of family because we had to grow to that. You know what I mean? And we had to get to the point where what's the point of arguing? There's no reason to argue. Everybody's grown.
Yeah, that's maturity.
Yeah, and now we have to build. We're all family, regardless of what. We're family, no matter what happens. So
I think TK, you talked about how it's easy to cut somebody off when they do you wrong, and I think that's an obvious one. Most people will do that, and I think that's when most people think about closing that chapter and just cutting somebody all the way out. And that's probably a good, healthy thing to do. But my thing is, even when things end cordially, though, and I'm talking about not so much when you have kids involved. I think that even when things end cordially, even when there's really it just ran its course, or, no real animosity, it's just you understand for one reason or another, things are not going to work out or they're not meant to be. I think even then, the hard part, I think, for people there, they don't want to feel like they're cutting somebody off and that they don't exist. So they try to, we could still stay friends. And I think that's a bad idea. I think it's, even when you end things on a good note, it's even more heartbreaking, but you have to treat it almost the same way, which is that chapter's closed and they really are just somebody that I used to know. Now.
It complicates things. Remember the movie, It's Complicated? I'm so serious. Like, it complicates things when you try to remain friends, knowing you have feelings with somebody. Somebody's lying. Somebody has feelings.
Right.
You just can't turn it off.
Yeah. And look, for everybody listening out there, there are always, I should have prefaced both of these topics tonight with this, which is what I do oftentimes, just about all the time with psychology in general, is there's always exceptions. I mean, so let's be clear. There's always exceptions, but we're not speaking about the exceptions. We're not speaking about 1 in a million. We're speaking about the others. Okay. So generally speaking, here is what we're talking about, but there may be an exception out there where somehow a certain situation worked out for some particular reason and so on and so forth. But as a rule, I think that the points that we made today pretty much apply for everybody's best interests. And unless you have a conniving, manipulative self-interest where you're trying to keep strings attached for your own benefit or your own future or good or whatever the case is, if you're honest with yourself, you can see, look, the best move is just to cut ties and move forward, because you already exceeded that relationship to its max. That ran its course. And so that's done. That's why I say no, you shouldn't. And I think the main reason why you shouldn't is because you impede the probability of meeting someone else as genuinely as you can with a fresh start if you bring this baggage, because you're calling them a friend. And then the other one is, can you just hit it on the head. Somebody's lying. Somebody still has the feelings, or they're staying friends very often because now they have a new label that they can call their relationship.
Yeah.
You see best friends do that a lot.
Just to stay connected to the person.
Right. And that's what a lot of times best friends do. I think we talked about that on a previous episode. I talk about, can you be best friends with the opposite sex? We talked about it. There's some caveats, there's some exceptions, but generally speaking, there's a lot of times, and it's guys a lot of the times, I'll call a girl a best friend because that's the closest I'm ever going to get to being in a relationship with her. So we'll just be friends. But make no mistake about it, that's a one-sided relationship. That dude's in that relationship with that chick. So that was my first question and my first topic, and I want to just talk about that because there's a lot of conversations about how much, what should the ties and the connections be to someone who's an ex, even when you don't end on bad terms. It still shouldn't be where I got to keep this person in my life on some level because things are good. Really, honestly, it's one of those upsetting, heartbreaking things where friendship is a very serious thing in and of itself. I mean, if you're dedicated to your friends are an intimate part of your life. So to call an ex a friend, where's the line? I think it's just best for everybody to say, look, that ran its course. No longer a friend. We're cool. We get along.
We're
whatever.
cordial. Right.
But friend, that's a lot. And friend comes with what? Friends come with my friends are friends with your friends, and my family's friends with your family and families. And that stuff goes out the window too. Look, we could probably talk for a little while here about, if I break up with you, my family's breaking up with you too.
Oh, do not.
I just went there. Let's go.
Don't bring that up.
Because my brother is going through that right now. He feels we should not talk to the mother of my nieces because he divorced her. Well, I'm gonna say something.
You got kids though involved though. See, kids are involved.
50-something years old.
There's a caveat to it, Ryan.
Because you brought her into this family. Because you are done does not mean we're done.
There's kids involved, right?
Yes.
All right, that's family.
They're my nieces. Why would I not talk to their mom anymore?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
there is no relationship or no ties.
Here's an example.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got thrown off. My bad.
No, you're all right. Let me give you the example.
Got a little flashback.
But you're talking about family, and you're talking about not just the person in a relationship with the person. So
I digress.
See if this is the same thing you're talking about, Shonda. I date somebody. Okay. I date somebody for a year. Just the timeline is arbitrary. The point is the same. I date somebody for however long. I introduced them to my mom. Her and my mom start texting and contacting throughout the relationship because, hey, that's my son's girlfriend, and that's that's her boyfriend's mom. And so there's some contact there, whatever the case is. If I break up with you and I start to date somebody else, what you doing is still texting my mom.
Still trying to get in with you.
So right, that's all it could be. And if it's not, then there has to be some real big understanding because my new girlfriend's going to be like, what the is going on here?
Right.
Why is this chick still randomly contacting your mom?
She's trying to show your girlfriend that she still got some pull in your relationship with your mom or with you.
But watch this though.
There's no reason for her to contact your mom anymore.
But watch this though. Who's it on at that point? Who is it on? It's on Mom Dukes, ain't it?
Your mom to shut it down. Your mom will shut it down.
That's who it's on.
But what mama will?
What mama won't shut it down? You mean?
Well, yeah. What mama will shut it down? Like, why would she?
Okay, I'll give you. This ain't my scenario, but I'll give you a scenario. What about a mom who says the ex is better for you, Ryan, not the new one you're with? So I'm a low key keep in touch with the other one.
Now wait a minute, mama usually knows best, Ryan. What's going on now? Wait a minute.
This is not a real life scenario. This is a hypothetical scenario. I'm giving Shonda a scenario where mama might not cut ties when she should out of respect for her son. Look, regardless of what mama thinks. If mama cares about the son, mama's gonna be like, look, he's making his choices. I got to respect what he's doing. I don't control his life. I'm not going to choose his mate for him. I might think she's best for him, but he's a grown man. I'm going to respect him and cut ties.
Mama should definitely cut ties, especially if she's trying to build a relationship with her son's girlfriend or
especially. Yeah. And keep the relationship with her son. And keep the relationship with her son.
I spoke about that today with George because my son's girlfriend said that her coworker is jealous of our relationship because she doesn't have one with her boyfriend's mom. And I said, there's no reason for me to have an attitude or issue with my son's girlfriend because number one, I want to keep things good with me and my son. And number two, I need to know what sister girl is doing, thinking about how she feels, how she's helping him. Because between me and her, we're helping him figure out his life and do what he needs to do and make sure he's, taken care of. Because truth be told, when Elijah left here and had his own place, any girl he gonna be trying to help him, navigate through life. Because that's what women do. We make sure our men are straight. So if I know that she's good and he's good, then I have to help facilitate what's going on with both of them. I can't be in the situation and have an attitude with her. Now he can't call me around her, or he can't bring her to my house, and then he may not want to come to my house because she don't want to come. That's too much drama. You know what I mean? As a mom, I want to make sure that you want your children in healthy relationships, and I don't know if it's healthy if I don't talk to her. I don't know if it's or because my son don't tell me everything. Truth be told, he don't. You know, boys, they tell you what they want you to know, and they don't tell you nothing, nothing else. So when things are going on, even when he didn't do his homework, she'll call me. Well, I just didn't do his homework, and I'll, you know what I mean.
So they're together, Shonda. I guess what Ryan's saying.
No, what I'm saying is if he had an ex-girlfriend, I would not be talking to that ex-girlfriend because I have a relationship with his current girlfriend.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So 2 things, and we'll move from this. I want to hear from TK after this. But 2 things. One, I was gonna give you a real life scenario where that can get hard. That can get really complicated. There's a boyfriend and a girlfriend. They're together for X amount of years, and the boy's family takes in the girl because for whatever the reason is, welcomes her into the home, supports her, X, Y, and Z. Maybe it's financially, maybe it's just emotionally, but there's a lot of support. There's a lot of love from the boy's parents to the girl, right? The girl does everything she can to make the relationship work out with the dude. It doesn't. She explains this to the parents. She explains it's not going to work out. I'm sorry. The parents give her the blessing. I get it. I understand it's not working out between the 2 of you guys. I wish you well. No animosity between the girl and the parents. A lot of love and respect, but that relationship wore itself out. The girl goes on her way. Mm-hmm. The girl has no interest in keeping contact with the boy, but she feels indebted to the parents because of what they did for her. So she feels like, one, every once in a while, I feel like I should check in and see how they're doing because I care about them a lot because they cared for me. And also maybe I owe them financially. I feel like it. I had this conversation. I said, this is what you have to do. You have to come to terms with the fact that any contact for any reason with those parents sends a clear message to that boy. And it's the same message every single time. You haven't let go and there's some sort of connection. And that's hard. That was really hard because like, that's not the case. And so the hard conversation was, well, then I need to one time save up I made my peace, save up the money you feel like you owe them. And then when you have everything you feel like you owe them or you want to pay them back, you have that one call, that one deposit, and then you're done. Instead of the just every once in a while stuff. And I just said that just to think about because what you might unintentionally be doing is stringing that kid along and giving that boy hope. Notice I'm saying kid and boy because it was they were younger in a situation. The second thing I was going to say before we move on is jealousy is in the comments a little bit here and there. Jealousy here, jealousy there. George speaks on jealousy. Diane's talking about jealousy. And I want to be clear that when you're asking about or inquiring about either somebody's current friendship with an ex or about a past relationship and how important it is to them, there's a fine line, like I say, between jealousy and intelligence. You could be looking out for your own self-interest. I mean, you could be looking out for your own self-preservation by asking, hey, I'm just curious so that I know what's going on. What's the nature of that relationship? Not because I'm jealous of them, but just so, like Shonda said, I know up front, so I know what time it is. I know how far in I'm going to go or not. It's not so much about being jealous of whoever or whatever they were. It's about knowing up front what is the magnitude of the relationship. So I know what I'm supposed to accept here because I got standards and I know how things work in human behavior. And I just will say, nah, no thanks. So be real easy with the word jealousy. There is straight up jealousy. And jealousy would be you're done with the person, you broke up, they're your ex, you have no contact with them, and the person still feels some type of way about somebody that you used to be with that you don't have any contact with. That is something that you're helpless with. Like, how you jealous of something that I'm not doing anything to condone? Nothing more I can do about it. That's where jealousy comes into play. And you'll hear about jealousy a little more in topic 2. But before we get to topic 2, TK, I want to go to you, break things up a little bit in between these 2 topics, and I want to hear from you maybe with a little bit of motivation. So TK, will you give us a little bit of a motivational moment this evening?
All right. You heard the voice.
Moment.
There it is. I should have asked Shonda for
TK's motivational moment.
Yes. Thank you for that, Ryan. Like I said, every Monday I tried, and Shonda, thank you. God.
I'm going to record that jingle.
Exactly. This girl is something else. But I try to think about what I'm actually going to talk about. And because of your topics, I kind of went with that message, Ryan. And I want to talk about letting go of the past and looking forward to the future. And so that's my quote that I want to share with you guys today. Letting go means to come to a realization that some people are a part of your history, but not a part of your destiny.
Hmm.
I'm going to say that again. They are a part of your history, but not a part of your destiny. One of the hardest things for us to do is let go of something that we were used to, that we were trying to hold on to. But until you let it go, you may never know what it's like to get a new hello. I'm going to say that again. Until you say goodbye, you will probably never receive that hello. You have to learn when to accept that something is over. So, for example, I'm not even just talking about relationships, it could be anything. I'll share my testimony of being laid off from my job that I loved. I didn't see it coming. I felt just like with any breakup, I felt angry. I felt hurt. Shonda was there through all of that for me. But there's a time that you literally just have to accept what has happened. And so that's number one, is accepting that the past is the past and there's nothing that you could do about the past. But what you can do is learn from it. What can I take from this? What just happened? Because until you close the doors to that chapter is when you can open up the door to another chapter. You have to realize one thing that I've learned from my grandmother is that people come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And it's up to us to figure out where they belong. Some people may come into your life just to teach you something, and that is for that reason. Okay. Even from a bad breakup or even a good breakup, what can I learn from that? What not to do next time, or what to look for in those red flags the next time? That is a reason. A season could be someone like a co-worker, people. I didn't say exes or lovers. I said people come into your life for a reason, season, and a lifetime. And it's up to us to categorize them. Season could be someone that you work with and you had a friendship or a co-worker relationship with them, but then you move on from that job or you graduated from college and you may never see them again. But you still have memories and times that you've been with them and they're a part of your life in that season, right? And then you have what we call a lifetime. Those are the people that will be there for the reason, the season, the ups, the downs, when you were down by yourself or when you had the highest of the high. Look at over time who will still be there. Like my mama, I know she's watching now. That's somebody for my lifetime. I know I can always depend on my mom, no matter the ups, the downs, the no matter what. My children know they could depend on me. I have a best friend, Punga Moody, who has been my best friend for 28 years. That's called lifetime. We're not even finished. Her and I say we still gonna grow old together. But look at the people who are still there through it all. She's been there through it all. She done seen me at my lowest low. So categorize your friendships, categorize where you are. But the only way, and what I want to leave with you guys from my mouth to your ears, is there's a time that you just need to accept what is, let it go so you can look forward to the future, which could be a bright one if you let it go. That's my motivational moment, Ryan.
TK's motivational moments.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Thank you, Shonda, for that. And thank you, TK, for that. That was phenomenal because it speaks to something much bigger, which is how do we move forward from something in our past. So I'm glad you hit on that. I want to say there's somebody in the comments, and there it is right there. Gucci Jackson asking us, me and TK, at least Shonda could chime in on this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Cindy,
I'm sure
from me.
by the way, I'm saying
Gucci Jackson, can you also put Shonda in the comments?
That's all right, Gucci. It's okay.
I'm saying, by the way, Cindy, I'm sure is not here today. I'm sure she'd have plenty to say on all these topics, just to be fair. But Gucci, I'm gonna ask you to do one thing, man. Next time you comment, make sure you capitalize your I, bro, because you are important.
Oh, Lord.
That's important. I don't know what we're doing nowadays. We're teaching the wrong things. But Gucci, real talk. I'm gonna say this right now live. I'll tell you what I'll do for you. When I host again next month, that's gonna be one of my topics for all these ladies to talk about and for us to speak about. How do we build trust in relationships? We'll address that. We'll talk about that. The short answer is you have to incrementally be vulnerable enough to be able to be able to be okay with being hurt or betrayed on a level that won't shut you all the way down. And you have to pay attention to see if they're willing to do the same. And then you gradually work your way up with that. So at all times, both people are vulnerable, but you do it incrementally. You don't go 0 to 100 like Drake. You go a little bit at a time and say, what am I willing to let this person betray me with? And see if they don't. And if they don't, okay. And that's how it grows.
Tell me playing no games in a relationship.
We'll talk about that, though. That's a good topic. I
want to hear from Shonda.
Shonda,
he asked to speak to me. He want to know what y'all do.
She's so petty.
I am.
No, you talk about petty. Like, for real, Ryan, she put me out there on Facebook because she called me and I didn't answer the phone. She is petty.
You gotta have somebody with that next level pettiness in your corner, though.
But Ryan, she that made her call me though. Did I get a phone call? Mission accomplished.
Damn, TK, you just reinforced the behavior, bro.
She sure did.
I was like, do I gotta call you to get? I was like, now take me off Facebook right now.
No,
listen, people in my life call me spoiled, but they reinforce it, Ryan. So if they stop doing it, I'll stop acting like this. But
you hear it? She's spitting facts, y'all. She's spitting behaviorism 101. She's spitting facts. So TK, you take a note.
Yes.
Next time she do you like that, don't talk to her. Hit her private line. Be like, look, till you delete that, I'm not calling you back.
But I have a quick answer for Gucci Jackson, even though he or she didn't ask my
Gucci want to hear from you. What you got to say?
But I just want to tell them, I think you build trust and understanding by being trustworthy and by being understanding. You be who you want in your relationship. That's how I see it. And when you see it's not being reciprocated, i.e. red flags or whatever the case may be, then you back away. Don't tolerate what you don't want to tolerate. Teach people how to treat you from the beginning. That's how I feel I build trust. Now, Ryan may have a deeper answer, but like I said, if I want you to trust me, I'm going to be trustworthy. If I want you to understand me, I'm going to be understanding. So I think it just starts with communication, definitely communication. And y'all come in a relationship with, no gloves on, and y'all just come at it being trustworthy. But if you don't, the minute you see something wrong and you just, well, maybe they weren't lying, or maybe, they lied for a good reason. Call that junk out, stop sweeping stuff under the rug. And that's how you build your trust. You need to speak on stuff that happens.
That's for sure. The assertiveness is absolutely for sure. There's many answers to this question. There's many levels and layers. So that's a good one, TK.
So that's next time.
And Shonda, that was well said. Thank you for that. And one thing that I actually had to implement, Ryan, was actually show. I did it in my actions. Like if there was trust that was broken in any type of form or way, I knew it was my responsibility to regain that trust. So it was by my actions. Right. So I think all of this is great stuff, but that was a great definition, Shonda. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we should do a Q&A one night.
I'm down with that, but keep that answer. I'm saying when I do it as a topic, I want you to keep that level, that angle, and bring that angle back, because it's obviously, if trust was that easy to do or to understand, everyone would have it right. So it's a lot. It's complicated. There's a lot of layers. So I was just talking about one of them. You talked about another one, TK. I'm sure you have more. And so we'll revisit that. I want to write that down, make a note. That's a future topic of mine, how to build trust in a relationship.
Friend. We all right, Gucci. We Gucci.
Oh my God. She went back to Gucci. She went back.
Well, they commented, so I didn't want to ignore their comment.
Look, you say, I'm sorry about that,
Shonda.
Thanks for that piece of advice.
I hope you receive it, Gucci.
And thank you for leaving a comment. I appreciate you. Appreciate all y'all for leaving comments. So let me I'm gonna jot that down because I think the question was, how do I build trust in my relationship? So I'm guessing you're talking like an intimate romantic relationship, but the concepts actually apply to any relationship.
Any ship,
business relationship, any
friendship.
Yeah. There you go.
Kids, bonds, everything.
Exactly.
I want no live friends.
Right. So we'll keep that same energy. We'll talk about that topic in the future. All right. Thank you, TK, for the motivational moment. Topic number 2. Let's jump into it. What do we have here for topic number 2? What we have is the next question I have, which is, should your dating history matter? So that's an opinion. And then from the technical side of it, does it matter? So we'll talk about the first one first. Should your dating history matter? And I'll clarify exactly what that means or what we're talking about, so we can have some sort of a premise of the conversation. Should your dating history matter? And then we'll talk about does it matter? And I think once
Mhm.
again, the does will help us understand the should. But the first question or the first part of the question is should your dating history matter? Now
Mhm.
here's the clarification. Should your dating history matter to who? The question is, should your personal dating history matter to the person that you're now dating or going to be in a relationship going forward? So that's really the question. Obviously, the question is, things matter to us, but the question is, should your past relationships matter when it comes to your future relationships? Might be tricky to understand or to speak on, and it might depend on what you're talking about. But in general, what we're talking about here is that people date, they have relationships, they have interactions, they have ships, and then they move forward and
Mhm.
they meet somebody new. When you meet
Mhm.
somebody new, should your past relationships matter in meeting this new person? Go.
Yeah.
You go first, Shonda, because listen, because I got something to say. But mine is
So,
I have a question to throw back at Ryan. But go ahead, Shonda.
because I don't know, sometimes I don't want to go too far left. But
You can't. This
the
is
only
our
reason
show.
why,
You can't go
because,
too far on your own show, Shonda. You
okay,
can't go
That's
too
right.
far on your own
Baby,
show.
go
well, let's
far.
go.
Reach for the stars.
Okay, so because I just recently posted about this, and it's a little sad, but it should matter because when I speak to women about domestic violence, the first thing I say is do background checks. There's so much free information online about people who you are attempting to date that can give you a red flag to back away. So, why are you shaking your head, girl?
Because I'm talking about body counts. But go ahead.
I hate that
Okay,
term.
I'm not talking about that. I mean, that's part of it. Don't get me
We're
wrong, but
we're going to, but Shonda's
But
talking about
we're
a different
going.
angle.
That's a
only
part
She's
of
right,
she's
history.
only
talking about a
because
different angle, and she's
right,
talking
only
about the
because I
angle that has a
just
negative connotation to it. You're talking about a
right.
positive experience. We're gonna talk about both, but Shonda's talking about yes, it should.
It
Even if
should
you're saying in just one caveat, spoiler alert, my answer is yes, it should, and yes, it does.
right,
And here's Shonda giving a reason why a technical safety issue it should matter.
right for
Yes.
safety
Didn't mean to
because
cut you off. Go ahead, Shonda.
because recently I don't know if you saw the young lady that was murdered by her, I'm not sure, her husband or whoever he was. He had murdered her abuser, her husband, and what she did not know. Well, I'm assuming she didn't know. But what was not mentioned to her before was that he previously did the same thing, not murder the woman, but stalk her, and was he had some other cases situation going on that I felt if she knew beforehand, she wouldn't have been in that situation. I'm hoping. So that's why I say it should. When I'm always talking to women about dating, I promise you the first thing I say was, girl, you did a background check? Go do background checks because if they were violent in their previous relationship, they may be violent with you. If they went to if they were, a thief or whatever was going on previously, that behavior may move over into a relationship. And when
But do
you
you
have
think people can change,
No,
Shonda?
here's the thing. I was going to say, I was going to jump in and get Shonda's back. The caveat is, unless they've had some sort of intervention or some sort of a
I was going to say
process
that.
of, but
Okay.
the chances, I'm going to add to what Shonda said. If someone has experienced a certain behavior in the past, they're most likely going to
Right,
continue that behavior
right,
unless there was an intervention and a change that took place, TK. And then what happens, TK?
exactly.
What happens if somebody had past experiences or certain behaviors in the past and they had the intervention? What happens now? I would assume, not assume, I would hope, and I would suggest that they actually err on the side of honesty and they say, I'm gonna tell you something. This is who I used to be. It's ugly. I hated it. This is what I went through. This is what I did
Exactly.
to fix it. And this is who I am now. So there's no secrets. This is what it was. This is what I did to change it. And this is what you have my word that it won't happen. And this is why. That's honesty. So now you're getting another brownie point, but it's
Right.
also transparency. But when
And that's what
somebody
right.
when you
Because
find that out in someone's past and there's no signs to see whether things have changed, you can almost count on when they get angry, if they put their hands on
exactly.
their past, they're gonna put their hands on you. If
My
she gets angry,
husband
bust
don't
out
have
windows, she gonna bust your windows out if there's
me and
no
my husband
intervention.
he didn't have a clean record, but he told me that when I met him. He told me
There you
how
go.
he was
Mm,
raised. He told me the
mm,
things. Nobody would know that George
mhm.
was 5 back in the day. You understand what I'm saying? Because today he's a great husband. He's a great father. But if he didn't tell me about his past, I wouldn't have known. I would have known that person back then. So I'm not to make my answer long, but yes, I think your history when it comes to being safe if you have children, whatever the case may be, you need to know that that person was arrested for being a pedophile. You need to know that that person was arrested for abusing his last 2 or 3 and 4 girlfriends. I do feel people could change, TK, but I agree with Ryan. There has to be some type of intervention or something that happened to cause them to change.
So,
honey, I wasn't always Dr. Shonda Roberts, honey.
You listen.
But I had interventions with an S.
What high school you went to, Shonda?
Miami Douglas MacArthur Senior High School,
The
North
Mac.
and South.
the Mac North and South.
Both of them, Ryan. Both.
Damn,
Both
she got moved from one. So good. Thank you for sharing that once again, as always, Shonda. So let's throw that into the pot of everything, because this is it. You can't pick and choose. We're about to go right now. Shonda's speaking on why it matters, whether you like it or not. So let's keep that same energy. TK, you had the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I just think it's a double standard. And I want to know from a man's point of view, Ryan.
Yeah, you had a question to flip back to me.
Yes, I'm going to flip it back to you.
Yeah, that's great.
When it comes to body count, Ryan, why is it that men,
his eyebrow went up.
Why do men think that it matters how many people women slept with, but it's okay for us to accept how many people they slept with? So why does that matter that they don't want to bring home someone that was, I guess, promiscuous?
First mistake.
Then we have to accept your past. So
first mistake is you don't have to accept anything. First of all, and as soon as females, ladies, women start stepping up and stop accepting this, then maybe standards will change. Because guess what? A man can only sleep with a woman who's willing to sleep with him. So that body count.
Say it again.
A man can only sleep with a woman who's willing to sleep with him. So that body count you're talking about, that ain't just some special on Walmart on the rack. That's your females. That's your counterparts there. So as soon as women collectively, and by the way, I wrote about this, and this is a whole bigger topic for another point, because there's an answer to what you're saying, TK, and you're right on the money with the double standard. You are. But there's a bigger answer to this, and one of the answers is this. Women set the standard in relationships, whether they agree with it, whether they think they do or not. They absolutely do. Men will take whatever women give to them. If a woman sets a standard, that's the standard. And there's going to be a man finally that comes along that will say, you know what? I'm going to live up to that standard. I'm going to take that standard right there. But there's going to be 40 guys for that one man to say, I'm going to go somewhere else where the standards are lower so I can add to whatever I want to add to.
Yeah.
You talking about why should women have to accept what immature boys and males do before they grow up? No, you don't have to. But this society now, it's gotten very, it's a lot more complex than just a simple answer. And I wrote about it. So hopefully we can talk about it at another time. But that double standard exists. But I think that actually there's immaturity on both sides that lead to that. Yeah. Going back to when you say body count, which I hate that term, because what that term originated as is dead bodies. And we're talking about past relationships where you've had sexual intercourse with somebody. So I just think that's just something that just like everything else, a lot of other things that this generation really has kind of assumed. Now that we understand what that is and what's going on there, that terminology, the number of people who you've been with in the past. Now let's be clear about something. The nature of sexual interaction and relationships has different motives for men and women. This speaks to the depth of the relationship before. When you look at how we are programmed from a biological standpoint, the goal of a male to reproduce, this is not, and by the way, let me just make a caveat for all y'all men out there listening, about to think that I'm kind of making the argument for you to sleep around. That's not what I'm doing. Actually, what I'm going to do is the opposite. I'm going to make the argument that just because you can doesn't mean you should. So, but if you look at it from a biological standpoint, and you can take this from the animal kingdom, and the fact is we're animals, but we're the most sophisticated animals. Just because we are programmed to, quote, spread our seed and breed and basically impregnate and send our offspring, or try to impregnate and send our seed as often as we can, as many times as we can, so that our genetics live on, so that we can pass on our genes. Just because we can do that, and that's how we're wired, doesn't mean we can't make the decision not to do that. And that's really what monogamy is. It's a decision. I'm not one that thinks we are monogamous creatures, but I think we are creatures that can make decisions, and that decision can be for the best interest of the family, all the kids and the family involved, and that can be. So this idea of looking at men and women as equally when it comes to the nature of sex, that's a mistake to begin with. That doesn't excuse particular behaviors that are immature, disrespectful, or irresponsible. That's the bigger conversation I'd like to get to maybe another time, which has to do with irresponsibility and disrespect of self. So that double standard that you talk about, TK, is a real one, but I think it also gets facilitated by a couple of these things, and also by the standards that we have to encourage our women, young girls, to set. Now, who helps them set that? Their fathers.
Yep.
And if they don't have a father figure or a healthy role model in the form of a male that tells them your standards need to be up here, sweetheart. This is who you need to be a queen, to deserve that, and you need to accept nothing less than this. If that's not happening at an early age, everything gets twisted. And I got a whole bunch written to talk about this even more so. But I am not one to think that a quote body count for a male is a good thing and it's a bad thing for a female. I think if you're a whore, you're a whore.
Come on.
Male, female, otherwise. I don't care. I think it comes down to self-respect and responsibility for this ability we call, sex, to be able to procreate. That being said, we're a little off topic from what I was asking. A little bit, but I hope I speak to at least the idea and the topic of what TK brought up, and we can maybe continue this later on. So I do recognize the double standard. I think that there's some specifics to it. There's layers to it, and it's not as simple as, well, men do it, we should be able to do it too. That is such a low bar.
No, absolutely.
And I know that's not what you're saying, TK.
Yeah.
But I want us to start thinking about how, when you're saying that, what you're saying is, well, immature boys are allowed to do it. I'm a grown woman. Why can't I do it? You can, but you're lowering your standards to that. Maybe think twice about what you're doing. And it also, last thing I'll say,
this is your third ouch, Ryan. Everybody's commenting.
It gets wrapped. That's why I'm here. I show up for this. I live for it. This idea of doing what men can do gets wrapped in empowerment. All of a sudden now, because women are able to, they should be able to feel free in their sexuality, so to speak. And they shouldn't have to feel like it's something that is only for a man when the man wants it. Absolutely not. It's your body, and you should be able to enjoy that with whoever you have a relationship with, so to speak. But this idea of empowerment and this movement has kind of gotten skewed to where now young women think that, well, having sex with whoever I want as many times as I want to, that's empowerment. No, sweetheart, that's not. That's degrading. That's self-degradation, and that's self-disrespect. And that is going to bring me back full circle to my original question. My original question is, should your past matter? That's actually a great segue back into the question. Yep. So should your past, your dating history matter? And so I'll let you guys, since I'm on a roll here, let me just keep rolling.
I say yes, but I'm like you, Ryan.
But hold on. It's the reason why. And TK, we've had this, we were at PF Chang's, and this kind of came up a little bit when we were eating, a little bit. So I kind of know a little bit of where your head's at here, but it may change a little bit. Now, Shonda already spoke to something that is very important about people's past that we need to know for safety reasons. But those are kind of negative things that you want to know for safety. But I'm talking about the whole kit and caboodle. And the reason why I'm going to talk about why someone's past should matter and why it does, and that speaks to, like I said, this quote body count concept and the whole idea of I can do and should be able to do whatever I want and share myself with whoever I want to. First of all, the more you share yourself, the less special you are. It goes for males and females. Just think about that for a second, just to keep that in mind. Because when you meet somebody, you want to be special. And of course, there's a lot more to you that's special than just your sexuality and, that part of you. But that's a very intimate part of us as human beings. So that's going to have some specialness to it. One. Two, there was a comment here, and I think the comment really embodies the mentality that is around what we're talking about here. And I think it was from Diane. I want to go back and find it if I can. So the question of, should your past relationships matter? Diane says no, because you're starting a new relationship, so you don't want to bring the old into the new. And I think that's the false narrative that people have in their heads, the false belief that they have. So here's what I say to that, Diane, and that is the sentiment that I think a lot of people have. When you talk about that, what you think is, well, I dated them, or that relationship's over, or I did that with those people, but that's in the past. This is a new. I'm not going to bring that with me. Here's the bad news. Everything you've done in your life, that's who's made you who you are. It stays with you on some level. It's why it's who you are, the way you are. And so I'm a little different, man. And this is why I'm probably the exception when it comes to this topic. And I wanted to bring it up here, see what you two thought about it, see what the audience thought about it. But I'm going to be honest with you. I know I'm the exception, generally speaking, because I've run across this conversation where people do not agree necessarily. And also I've heard from girlfriends and ex-girlfriends. I am the exception in this situation where I actually welcome the conversation about whoever I'm getting to know or dating about their past. And when I say that, I mean, there's no limits. Like everything that you've been through, I'm cool hearing about it because that's who you are. Now, I think what a lot of people do is because they're not emotionally ready to deal with the idea or the thought and the thought and the imagine and the visualization or whatever happens to them with what happened in the past, they think they kind of convince themselves, well, no, it's over, so it doesn't matter. And I just think that's an act of cognitive dissonance where you're trying to basically make two things that don't connect or make sense. You're trying to make them make sense. And I think that when you think about someone's past, and I say I'm different because I meet somebody, I want to get to know all of them. Now, the fact is, this person, wherever they've been, that's them. So if I really want to get to, it always trips me out and this goes for ladies out there, especially young girls, boys too, men too, and they kind of live their life where it's a complete disaster in terms of them dating whoever, sharing themselves with whoever, being real sloppy and real casual. But then they want to look for somebody to take them seriously and respect them for the rest of their lives. Now, how are you going to do that if you're completely transparent and honest with everything you did in your life? You got one or two options. Be completely transparent and honest and tell them, look, this is who I am and how I've always been, and this is what you're going to get. And they're probably going to say, oh, wow, that's kind of, I don't really know. Or you got to lie so you can have this fresh start. Now, you got to decide what you want to do. But the chances are, if you're reckless with your life and you're sloppy and you're casual with things that are very private and very, very intimate, if you do that and then you meet someone that you want to share that with and you tell them, hey, by the way, it ain't so private. Half a homestead has done seen what I'm about to show you for the rest of my life. The chances are they're going to say, oh, I'm going to look at you a little differently because I wanted something that was a little bit, or you lie and you don't tell them. And for me, I would rather err on being honest. So what I'm saying is when you do what you do, young ladies, young men, anybody else watching, just think about, are you willing to be able to have that conversation with your future partner? Hey, this is who I am. It's what I've done. It's who I've spent time with, who I shared myself with, It's just, and these are my decisions. Why? So don't be casual about something that you're going to want one day to be sacred because it ain't going to work for you. Or when you get into the relationship, stop lying. I see these newlyweds, girls I went to high school with. This dude she marrying has no idea who she is. I promise you that. And if she would have told that dude from
maybe
the jump,
she changed.
It don't matter what she changed.
That's why I say, do people change?
Her behavior has to change because she's going to be with him. But you can't change the fact that she actually... Look, if you had that mentality about who you are, what your worth is, and how you share yourself in the past, that mentality can change all you want to. But those past experiences don't change. What's changed and why has it changed? It has to change. Why would you change that? That's a character. That's who you are. You're changing that because that's the rule. That's part of the game. Now I have to shut that down because otherwise, he'll divorce me.
I don't want to be a player no more.
But why?
I'm not a player. I just crush a lot.
So the question is why. And so look, there's nothing wrong. We all have a history of some level. I'm just asking you to think about what you're doing. Think about what your history is and think about whether you are genuinely honest, okay with that, and honest with yourself in a way that you have a conversation. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people will have this conversation because they want to say, well, it doesn't matter. That's the past. But I'm different. I want to know you. I want to know everything about you.
Professor AB, did you share with your current significant other your past?
The answer is yes, because if you're talking about if I haven't shared it, I will.
You on mute, TK.
I was gonna say all of it.
As much
know, what did you what brought it up and how did you go into that conversation? And I'm asking because we didn't ask each other about our past.
Right.
I don't want to know who my husband was digging.
That's why.
I don't.
Stop. But that's why you don't.
In my mind, he only had sex with me.
In your mind, and that's what people do in their mind. And if you can handle that, and that's where you
better
stop,
not.
that's fine. But that's not how my mind works. My mind works. This is how my mind works.
Too much. That's the problem. Your brain don't ever shut down. That was none of your business. Why you ask that girl her business?
But if I'm with the girl, I'm with all that. So if I'm gonna love you and be with you, I'm gonna be with all that. And to think otherwise is willful blindness.
Can I throw a question out there that everybody?
Let me finish this thought. TK, let me finish this thought. I want you to hear your question.
Don't forget your question, TK.
Okay, I got it.
It's willful blindness to think that because I don't know it didn't happen. Some people can live like that. I am the exact
me and Ryan
opposite.
had a discussion on Twitter. That's why I'm asking him that. Me and him had a discussion. I said,
We did.
I don't want to know.
That's fine. That's a different story. That's a different story, Shonda.
Let me ask
For me,
question.
That's why I said I'm the exception, Shonda. For me,
go ahead.
If I know something exists and it happened and it is a fact, I am more at peace and comfortable knowing about it than pretending it didn't happen. I cannot pretend. Look, I'm different, man. I can handle the truth and I can handle my emotions.
But
A lot of people
okay,
can't handle
I'm
either one of
not
those.
saying you can't handle it. But my question is,
Yes.
what?
Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
what?
Yes.
What
I'm ready.
conversation with y'all? So you said so. So what's up, baby? Who you been sleeping with? Like that's how
So
you
we
act. Like,
How does
what
it come out?
here's first of all, and I would recommend that people out there, especially young people, consider this as advice. Don't have sex with anybody that you can't talk about sex with.
I'm not saying that.
So
I'm
let me.
saying why
That's my answer.
after.
But that's my answer to your question.
Okay.
How does the
Okay.
relationship start? Conversations. Conversations about what? Conversations about sex. How do you get close to somebody sexually before you have sex with them? Conversations
I
about
don't wanna
sex.
know who my husband been putting in the book.
That's
I
fine.
don't care.
So
I
stop.
don't
Listen, Shonda.
know.
Here's an example. So here's an example. There's a difference between sharing facts about your history and about your past and
Uh-huh.
sharing intimate emotional experiences and talking about it. That's
So
not
you
what I'm
want to
talking
know if
about.
she was promiscuous, but you don't want to know
It's
how
not
she
a
did it.
it's not you're not grilling them. It's not a interrogation at all. It's a conversation about who they are. And if they're honest, they're going to tell you. And if you're secure, you're going to listen. Here's an example just to throw it out there.
Okay, I was going to give me an example. I was going to give me
This
an
is
example.
not one.
Yeah.
This is not one that works. But if you're having
No,
a
I want one that
conversation,
works. I want one that works.
I'm sorry. What did I say? There's not one that works.
You said one that does not work.
I don't know why I said that. This isn't one that
Maybe.
this isn't one that personally that I'm talking about. But this is
Okay,
this is
okay.
one this is one that works. I'm sorry. This is
Okay.
one that works. If you're having a conversation and it's about sex and it's about your past, you can have a conversation with the person. And if orgasm comes up, you can have a conversation and say, "Yeah, I had an orgasm in my last relationship." That's a fact.
No, I'm not telling it, Ryan.
So then you don't know the person you're with.
Ryan, we are not having this conversation.
I may say I've never had an. If I'm asked, if my husband said, "Have you ever had an orgasm?"
Right.
Which I know he won't.
But I'm saying you get the point.
But let's say if he did, I'm gonna say no. I'm like, I'm gonna say.
That's why I say I'm the exception.
I'm joking. I'm joking. If he asked me that, I would be honest. But
that's why I say I'm the exception.
He wouldn't ask me that. Like, he wouldn't ask me that because his main goal is to make sure he's doing what he's supposed to do. He don't care whatever happened before. Who did
he don't got to care about that. No, he don't got to care about that. But what I'm saying is he can learn a lot about you because who he's with is you, and all of you is a result of things that have happened. And so if there's things that you did not like, things that could have been better.
Of course, yeah, that's different.
But that's what I'm saying. As you get into know somebody, to leave this off the table, to me, is a willful blindness. I'm different. And Tika, I prefaced it by saying,
You're different.
I'm
gonna let you know. You're
just
different.
about every single ex-girlfriend of mine, I've had this conversation, and they'll tell you without any jealousy, without any type of emotions, it never got held against them or held over their head. And that's what a lot of guys will do. A lot of people say, look, I want honesty, but they can't handle the truth.
Right.
So be careful.
That was my question to
But
you.
that's
Is
what I'm.
Ryan, can you handle the truth?
Every
baby?
single one of my ex-girlfriends would tell you absolutely, and I wouldn't ask if I couldn't handle it. I would. That's
You
what I'm
know,
telling you. I'm different.
You're different.
I am.
I'm gonna let you know you're
I
different.
ain't finished. I know
This is
it's
what
after 9 o'clock, but I'm not
TK to
finished.
your okay. I'm gonna come back to you, Shauna. TK, to your point,
Okay.
this is what has happened multiple times. TK, the conversation comes up, and when I'm first getting to know the
Let me
girl, or when
sip
it
on
comes
my
up,
cup, 'cause this is too much.
TK, she hits the brakes on the conversation, and is almost surprised that I'm asking her, that I'm interested in, that I want to know this part about her. She pumps the brakes like, you know why? Because every other guy that she's ever known would never want to hear that or had that conversation. And she's kind of like, are you sure you want to go there? I'm like, absolutely. Oh, she gets so comfortable. Now we're having a conversation. What is that? That's another layer of comfort that she has with me. So I'm just telling you, I'm just answering your question.
Baby.
I'm answering your question.
Ryan, you cut from a different cloth, sweetie. Because this ain't what I heard. This is what I know, honey. Some men can't handle the truth.
Most men can't.
Most
Okay,
men.
so
Facts.
I'm still a little.
And by the way, it's not just men.
baffled.
It's not just men. Most people can't handle the truth,
Right.
especially in those intimate situations about intimate relationship.
Oh.
But I'm just the point. I'm just the type of person where what trumps for me is what trumps it is the fact that I know it happened. So I
Of
can choose to be in the dark.
But you
or I
want to
can
know
say-
details?
But if I know
No,
it
he
happened,
said
if
no.
they're relevant. No, if they're relevant to the conversation or getting to know them. But I'm the type cut from a different cloth, like you said it. If I know it happened, how can I sleep at night knowing that it happened, pretending it didn't? You know, like I can't pretend I met somebody and they never dated nobody. What are we talking about here? Oh, so you did date.
Never that.
You did date.
I do that. I do that.
That's fine if it works for you. I can't do that. And you know what I want to know? I want to know you, and I want to know you that you know, so I can be that close to you. And I
But
want to do the
I
same
have
for
a
you if you can
question,
handle it.
Ryan.
But people throw it back up in your face, Ryan.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that is the caveat that has never
You're in the
happened with
middle
me.
of an argument, all
Yep.
that comes right back out.
You're 100% right, TK. You're 100% right. But that is
So you
cowardly.
can handle that. You can handle the truth.
Of course. That's why I would never ask someone to share something with me that I'm gonna throw back in their face ever.
But has anyone ever thrown it back to you?
Yes,
Yes,
because they
I
couldn't
can
handle
answer
it.
that for him.
But that's
Right.
why because 10 years ago I learned this. I figured this out right there the hard way. Everybody wants honesty. Nobody can handle the damn truth when
Nobody
they get
can
it.
handle the truth.
Okay,
So what?
I have a question, Ryan.
Real quick, Shonda, what happened for me was I had met someone, was all about them, just got out of a relationship that I was totally over. And I was older. I was 30, 31. And so I was like, look, no more games, man. Next person I meet that I really, really like, open book, bro. I'm going to be transparent. I don't want no BS. No, I'm going to tell them what. So I'm like, listen, this is what, I just got out of this relationship. This is why it didn't work out. And these are kind of some of the things that happened. And she was asking and she was interested. Right. So I was telling because we're having a conversation. So what happened was the conversation I had about what went on, the depth of the relationship or who I was with in the past. It's all good, finding good for a couple of months. And then, like you say, comes back up now in a conversation. And I'm like, man, so I shared with you, kind of maybe why my relationship ended or what went on or whatever the case was, for you to bring it up in your most insecure moments. And this, all you're doing there is basically telling the person to lie to you or not tell you the truth. And that's it. Anybody who throws something in somebody's face that they shared with them, you're shutting them down and you're killing a part of that relationship that you had available. Right. And I'm about depth. I'm about depth. I want to know. That's why it's always a trip to me when I see newlyweds or people loving my life, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, how close really are you to that person, man? How well do you really know that person, man? And
but can I say something? Me and Pharaoh, we of course, there's this thing called pillow talk, and of course he knows me, I know him, but that comes out over time. I just can't imagine me meeting him for the first couple months, and I just don't do everything at him.
It's not on the first date.
Oh, okay. I was like, now wait a minute.
Anytime it's relevant. First date, okay. First date pass conversations, different level of information. 6 months in, conversations about the experience, different levels. So, but the concept, the point is, should what you've done in the past matter? And so we talked about, should it matter for a number of reasons? I think it should, and I think that it does it. The question, does it matter? I think it does because that's a part of that person. Now, again, the specifics and the details need to be relevant and in context with what you're learning about the person or what you're talking about. Don't just bring some random ass, conversation up about an intimate experience with a past person that's not relevant to the conversation. Like, whoa, what? Why are we doing that? Like, it's got to be relevant to learning about me, my what I've done, who I've been with, what I've experienced, what I understand. It's got to be relevant. If it's not, then we're not talking about the same thing. Question, Shonda.
It depends on what the person, what they like and what they want. Because there is this phrase, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, but obviously there's a lot of them that are.
They're a family show, ma'am.
Like a reality show, like Cardi B, for example, she let it be known she was a stripper. So obviously her husband does not mind that she has this past that she used to steal.
We're not going to use that as an example, Ari, because you saw what he did in his marriage. I mean, we're not really using that.
Okay, he can't. Okay.
That's a different lifestyle. That's a different lifestyle. By the way, that phrase "can't turn a hoe into a housewife" that absolutely contradicts what you said earlier about why can't people change?
No, I didn't say it was me. I was letting you know what's out there.
It's out there. But it's out there for a reason, and it's pretty true. I mean, with an intervention, you know what I'm saying? Certain people do certain things sometimes because of past experiences, issues in their life. Shonda, you had something earlier. Did you forget your question?
Yeah, because y'all know I've been drinking, so I forgot. But I wanted to ask you.
Hey, it's a family show.
Oh, I'm drinking.
Oh, right.
I'm kidding. No, it ain't. What you drinking tonight? What you sipping on, Shonda?
I have no idea. George just be handing me cups, and I don't know what's in it.
Here come Kimberly talking about a stripper and a whore different. Technically, you're right. We're not going to argue with you, but it's a real fine line.
She's right.
But see, back to trust. I trust my husband to fix me a drink because I know he's not going to poison me. He says an old fashioned.
Shout out to George, man.
Hey, George. Yeah.
So I just wanted to see.
Wait, Ryan, I'm not that question.
I thought you forgot. You was drinking.
No. I remember one of them. So when you were saying that you want to know their past? Is it that you want to know um
Them.
wait,
Them.
wait. It's like a 2-3 part question.
All right.
Do you want to know how many they've been with? Do you want to know how they like to have sex? Or
You
do
want to
you
know
want to
everything.
know are there things in that relationship, I mean in their sexual relationship, you want to know so that you can make it better and
So
make a
you
better
always want
experience for them?
you always want to make it better. And I think the more information, the more knowledge, the better, first of all.
Okay.
Second of all, the short answer is I'm okay with knowing anything that there is to know. Now, the caveat to that is that in the context of the conversation, in the context of what I'm learning, I'm not just going to randomly have some checklist of specific things about
Right.
that I just out of nowhere have. But as we're getting to know each other, if it's organic, why did I freeze?
I don't know. I see you
But I
frozen.
can
I'm
hear
not
you,
frozen.
but I can't hear you.
You can hear me still?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear
keep
you.
talking.
My camera cut off. Did it unplug? My cam.
Yes,
Oh my goodness! I have my timeout. Hold on.
but we
I
can
got my
still hear
camera.
you.
My camera is still.
Shonda and I will keep talking while you're dealing with that.
No. All I
Shonda,
gotta do is I gotta eject one of these. Let me take one of these out of the thing. I gotta
no
put this.
problem.
I was asking because I can't see a time where, because we've had now, when you meet somebody, you have deep conversations.
Right,
When me
right.
and my husband started dating, we would have pillow talk every night. You know what I mean?
Yes,
About different things and talk about stuff. But I don't think there was ever a conversation where I asked him, how does he like his
exactly.
his banana moisturized? You know what I mean? I
I'm
was
sorry.
trying to figure out how to
George,
say it. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. So I don't think that
George, mm-mm. George,
I don't
we're not
think
doing
there's
this
ever been
tonight.
a time where I asked him that. Now I think wait a minute, never mind. This conversation gonna go
Just
to
it's going there. I think I know what Ryan is trying to say, right? Right, not even what trying to say. I think I know what Ryan is saying. Ryan, you're not literally going to sit there with a checklist asking her questions. But
right.
if she's vulnerable enough to come out and share something with you, you that's trust.
But what if
And
she
you
isn't?
allow her to do that. But I'm with Shonda. I just don't know if I would go there with that conversation. I don't
Why are you
know.
frozen again?
I don't, Shonda,
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
with you. I don't think I would just come out. We having pillow talk, and I'm bringing up my ex and what I did with
Yeah,
him in the past.
I
Like
don't
I
want
just,
you thinking about her while we lay in bed, probably naked,
you feel
talking about.
you
She should be
feel me?
on your mind. The only thing I want you to do is think about all of this melanin, honey. That's it. I want you to think about her. So I'm not gonna ask you that because in order to have that conversation, your mind has to go back to that moment, right? Am I
Yeah,
wrong? Okay.
yeah, yeah. No, you are absolutely
If you're
right, and I
asking me that question or something to that effect, then my mind has to go back to the Diane. All of us are frozen. I think StreamYard has been having an issue all day because
we
they
can
mentioned
see
earlier about
we are
Facebook.
at 9:20. We probably could wrap up. Well, I'm actually looking at my thread on Facebook. It's
Oh, it's
still moving.
9:20. This is a good conversation. We
I
done went way
know we're
past
still
time.
moving. We're still moving. Let us know, Diane, if we're back because I actually see it on my Facebook and we're still
Are we
moving.
still frozen, y'all? Anyway, let me go on to my corner.
Yes, there you
Let me
go.
go on to my corner.
Let me sing for you. Hold
Oh,
on.
no. It's okay, baby. It's quite all right.
Listen,
Bruh.
Shonda's Community Corner. Yeah, she's here,
Oh
y'all.
wow, this is so cute. Thank you, boo. So, because we still are in domestic violence and breast cancer month, as you can see in my background, I am going to continue to share these events that are coming up. So again, we will talk about the cycling event with Miss Jennifer
Okay.
Logan. It is October 30th at 8:30 a.m. I honestly cannot see this information because even though I have on glasses, I still can't see it. So I'm gonna post I will post the information in the comments that you all can have the information. I think I have it here. Here it is. Love versus Cancer, October 30th, 8:30 a.m. The phone number is 305-216-6987. It's a bicycling event. I know her husband is a cyclist, so they're doing an event for her nonprofit, because what she does is take the funds and help other survivor cancer survivors, and they give them things that they may need during that time. A lot of times people are out of work and are not able to have access to funds. So they really go over there and they make sure they have a care package and things that are going on. So they need for their to get through their daily life. So this cycling event is a fundraiser for that as well. And then you have the Lou Foundation. They are having an event on Saturday, October 22nd, 5 to 9 p.m. It's the sixth annual All White Affair, 18330 Northwest 12th Avenue, Miami Gardens. I am one of the honorees. They honor domestic violence and breast cancer survivors every year. And I, your girl, Dr. Shonda Roberts, will be an honoree as well. I also was supposed to add something in here, but I did not bring it. I'm so sorry. I will bring it in next week. But I also am speaking at a candlelight vigil. The state attorney's office called me this week and asked me to be their speaker for the candlelight vigil on the Lawson Courthouse steps. So I will be their speaker for that night. I also have another event on October 26th. It's on Zoom where I'll be speaking about domestic violence as well. I wanted to also talk to you all really quick about just give you some tips. I will make sure I post the link. I got it from the hotline.org about having a safety plan. If you know someone in an abusive relationship that needs to get out, please make sure that you be a support and help them. Victims cannot just grab their bags and say, I'm leaving their abuser. It's not that easy. A lot of people want to know, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just go? It's easy to leave. It's not that easy. 75% of victims are murdered after leaving an abusive relationship because the abuser loses control and they want to regain that control some type of way. So I'm going to give you some quick tips on things that you need if you're leaving an abusive relationship. And I will also post the link where I got it from, because I'm going to run through this really quick. So either rewatch the podcast or go to the website. So first, you have to identify safe areas in your residence. Always find somewhere to go where that person may or may not be able to get to you, or it's away from weapons if you can. If arguments occur, try to go to those areas before they escalate. There was a time when I was my abuser, I would always try to go in the room because there was nothing in the room that he could throw at me, or if he did throw me down, he would throw me down on the bed. And I would feel like that was more safe than throwing me against the wall in the living room or in the kitchen. So I will always go towards the room. If safe, have a phone accessible at all times and know what numbers to call for help. If you have to put numbers in your phone, put numbers that don't have, if you have let's say I need to call the abuse hotline. Maybe put it under TK's name, put it under Sharon's name, put it under somebody's name so they don't see that that is the actual abuse hotline number. Have numbers that you know that you need. And the number, I will put the number for the abuse hotline in the chat as well. Let trusted friends and neighbors know about your situation. I know it's embarrassing. I know it's hard, but you have to tell somebody. People can't help you if you don't say anything. Talk to others living in the residence, know how to get help. So, and including your children. Sometimes we don't want to tell our kids what's going on, but we can't keep them safe if we don't share even a little bit of information with them. Let them know how to get help if you're being abused, man or woman. Create several plausible reasons for leaving the house at different times of day or night. Example, multiple trips to the grocery store, spending time with friends. Find a way to get out the house if you can safely, and practice how to get out safely. If you have children, do a what do you call them? Fire drill. We did in school. Do drills with them. If I say this keyword to my kids, they know, grab your things and let's go, or grab that one bag. Have a backpack. That's one of the things we teach at our safety plan workshop. Have a bag packed so you can get up and go. Plan what to do if your partner finds out about your plan. And I know this sounds like a lot and I'm running through it, but all these are necessary to stay safe. You have to have a plan B and a plan C just in case. If possible, keep guns and weapons locked away. Be mindful of how clothing or jewelry could be used to physically harm you. Back your car in the driveway when you park at home and keep it gassed up for the moments you have to get up and go. And if violence is unavoidable, Make yourself as physically small as possible. And what that means is, for me, I will ball up in a corner and curl up in the ball with my face protected. I will cover my face and I will cover my head because he will only hit me in my head. So I would get in the ball and I would literally go like this and wait till the abuse was over. So if you can't avoid it, if you can't get away, just try to ball up as much as you can. But I go back to making sure people know what's going on, how they can help you. Have a safe word. Have a word that when you call someone, they know to call the police for you. You may not be able to dial 911, but you may be able to call Ryan and say, "Hey Ryan, can you order me a pizza? Hey Ryan, I need to do my hair today." And Ryan like, "What you talking about?" He'll know I need to call the police to your residence. So I'm gonna post all this in the comments so you all can have that information. But I just want to make sure that you help someone that needs help. Don't turn your back on them. Don't judge them. Don't tell them, well, you must want to be there. They need help. So if you can, help them. Thank you. That's it for me.
Go, Shonda.
Thank you.
Ryan,
Thank you, Shonda. Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you, yes.
Man, hold on. Let me give Shonda her due with her little outro. You know what I mean? Shonda's community corner. First of all,
you didn't like my singing? You didn't like my singing?
I did, yes.
Go ahead. I like it, baby. Sing it one more time.
Kimberly said dancing is your gift, TK. In other words, stick to that. Thank you, Kimberly.
So my damn battery died in my camera because I had to unplug it from the charge on the wall. I forgot to plug it back in for the show. So that's why that happened with that one. The microphone, I don't know what happened, but everything fell apart. I think it's the universe telling me people can't handle this shit, Ryan. Slow down, man. Anyway, Shonda, first of all, thank you for sharing those specifics. Before I go circle back and then we wrap this thing up, thank you for sharing those specifics. And of course, somebody can watch the recording. We can snippet that and have those bullet points shared out, and you all can share those out as well. So obviously, of course, thank you for that. Just to recap a little about what I was talking about, though, just to really kind of wrap up the question. It's not a matter of grilling or finding out a certain number of amount of information from somebody before you move forward. What it's about is being open-minded to the fact that you're meeting a whole person with a whole bit of life experiences. And are you open and okay with having a conversation, an organic conversation, if something comes up about their past that was relevant to them, relevant to their development, relevant to their experiences, to their understandings, whatever it is? Are you open-minded and having that conversation? I heard you all talking about how when you talk about it, though, you have to relive it. You go back there and X, Y, and Z. But how is that any different than what Shonda just did when she can speak about something that was horrific? Look, she made amends with it. It was in the past. I don't go back there. It's over. I'm safe now. I'm with you now. X, Y, and Z. It's a matter, I think, coming to terms with your own sense of maybe self-esteem and security and being, and also to what extent do you want to get to know them? Maybe some people's relationships have different levels that they're looking to have. I'm just the exception I've found because I'm looking to get to know somebody and I'm open for them to know me on a deep, deep level. Now, I saw in the comments, it has to do with my field. There's a reason why I went into studying human behavior, and studying psychology, because that fascinates me. The depth of who we are as people fascinates me. I can't turn that off in my relationships. How am I going to pretend like I'm not interested in those same things I'm studying with the person I'm with? The key is you ladies said it. It has to be a two-way street. You have to be open to one, sharing parts of yourself, but you have to be able to handle genuinely what somebody's talking about, or do not go there. Save them the hassle and the heartache, and don't open a can that you can't handle. And so I knew I was the exception. I knew that I'm rare like that. I knew that that's different, but I just want to encourage everybody, think about how, if you want to know who you're with, if you want to know who you're dating, and look, there's a lot to them that might not come up in general conversations, but be open to say, hey, you know what, that adds to who you are and whatever the case is. But it's not a checklist that you have to kind of go down and someone has to answer for you. That's not what I was saying by any means. So I wanted to clarify that. So should someone's dating history matter? Yeah, for a number of reasons. To the extent, I think you choose and you decide, but to dismiss it and say it doesn't matter at all, I think that's ignorant and willfully naive and willfully blind. So that's all I was trying to point out today with that question. Think about how it does have some relevance. Don't just dismiss it altogether and say, well, it doesn't matter because it's not now. You're missing a lot, and you could miss some safety issues, but you also could miss levels of getting to know somebody, who they are, what they like, what they don't like, whatever the case is, and you'll know more about them after those conversations. So that's really what that question was stemmed from. I hope that clarifies it a little bit for you all, because obviously it's one. I mean, look, I didn't have any idea what time it was till you said it. Those conversations are big. what I'm going to do for y'all before we wrap up tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen back to this since it got chopped up because my damn battery died in my camera. My sound went out. These ladies had to cover for me and everything else. It was a little messy there. I'm going to listen back to it. I'll make some notes, some key points there. Maybe summarize it next week during my real talk or something like that, but I'll make sure we can kind of touch on it a little bit. TK, let me know what you have in the comments while I share with everybody where they can find us, because I want to make sure people understand and they know where they can find us. If there's any comments, let me know after I get done with this one. But as always, you all can follow us. You can subscribe on YouTube, follow us on social media, Talk Miami Podcast. We're not just a live show on YouTube and on Facebook. We also are a podcast. You can download and record that. Listen to that while you're on the go, on the run and such. Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever they're available. Go ahead on and do that. Real Talk with Ryan David is also a podcast. I'll go ahead and shameless plug there. Y'all can check me out. I have my own podcast there. You can check that out. But here's our show. This is how you get in touch with us. You got any comments before we get out of here? TK?
Yes, Gucci Jackson is back, and we'll end with his question. And this is for all of us. Shonda, he tagged you too. Shonda, TK, and Ryan, how can I build a successful relationship with my girlfriend? What are the key ingredients in building a successful relationship with her?
I'll go first, and I'll tell you something I've learned. Took me 43 years of relationships to understand it. A friendship, bottom line, period, point blank. If you cannot establish a genuine friendship with somebody, it's inevitably going to come up later on down the road, and the relationship's going to fail or it's going to be a fraud. So that's my short answer.
I agree. One thing my close friends always tell me that they love that me and George are friends. You have to like each other. If you don't like each other, nothing is going to grow from that. We can be who we are in our relationship, and also we are okay with having those hard conversations and talk about stuff. Communication is definitely key. Nothing else can happen unless you have effective communication.
Exactly.
Everybody can communicate, but everybody can't communicate effectively.
Yes.
So I think
100%.
that's definitely a big deal. And also you have, like Ryan said, you have to be friends. You gotta like each other.
Right.
TK, got some ad?
I'm going to jump on the whole effectively communication. Communication is everything to me in a relationship.
Yes.
Please understand that you're not going to always agree. Everything is not going to always be peaches and cream. However, I can only speak from Farrell and I's marriage, but not even just that. It's not even just about marriages. It's even relationships with my mother, with my kids. It all comes down to communication and knowing how to effectively talk to people. You don't have to yell. You don't have to fuss. You have to pick the right time. You also have to fight your battles. There's so much I have learned over time, and that comes with maturity. But I truly believe all of that comes right back to the word communication.
Since you ladies brought up communication, I'll give it to you like this. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other things you need to be sure of before you go on with this relationship. Do you all have the same standards, goals? Do you have the same outcomes? Does she want the same thing as you? Because if she doesn't, you're done. But I'll say this. When you think about your friends, you think about two things that you have with them. You have a healthy communication. You tell each other whatever you need to tell each other about whatever it is, good, bad, otherwise. And you have respect. The two foundations, I've talked about it before on this show, the two foundations of every relationship have to be respect and communication. If you don't have one of those two, everything crumbles. So see if you have those two things, you'll build a friendship, and then everything else after that takes on a life of its own. And that's the fun of relationships. We ain't got all the answers for you. You find that out for yourself. But that is a foundation I think you could build on. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say deuces to everybody out there. Shout out to the 9 people left that are still here. I know we went late.
Right?
My technology betrayed me. So we'll get that straightened out. But shout out to everybody who listened tonight. We love you guys. We'll look for you next week. Peace. All right, ladies.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Wanna live with you. I just wanna love you.
All right, y'all have a good night.
Bye, everybody.